So I'm dealing with technology, as we all do, and I'm getting to the point where I need to replace my phone. It's about 4 years old, and it's time to replace your phone when it has to be on a charger at least twice during the day, not overnight, just to keep up with normal use. I'm very grateful that I've done this a couple times, even on my own. Imagine, I have a lot of names in my contact list and other things that are on your phones. And imagine if every time you got a new phone, all those pieces of data didn't transfer over, and you had to start over from scratch. That would not be fun, would it? We have a lot of things in our phones that we want to transfer over. There's a wonderful invitation and the vision, particularly in the book of Revelation, our second reading, where John says, I see a new heaven and a new earth. And we also hear Jesus give us not just a commandment. If you notice, he says, I give you a new commandment, to love one another. That word new comes from the same Greek word in all those references. The Greek word is kainos, K-A-I-N-A-S, kainos. Now, sometimes when we hear the word new, we think of things like brand new, like a brand new thing or brand new baby, something that's at the beginning of its life cycle. But the reference to new is slightly different. The new is something that's not brand new, but something that is fresh, renewed. And a new heavens and a new earth speak of like a reinvigorated perspective and even alteration of behavior that we would have, especially as we've been affected by the resurrection of Jesus. The new commandment is something that's constantly refreshing us and others. It's not brand new. It would be like getting a new phone without transferring the data. It doesn't really work that way, does it? If you think about it, the resurrection of Jesus, and he says, love one another as I have loved you. And the model of that love is the complete giving of self. It's the message from the cross of love. And even Jesus himself, there was something that was contiguous from when he was here on earth. Most especially the wounds that he received on the cross. And yet there was something completely different and transformed when Jesus was raised from the dead. And this is the effect of the resurrection for us. That there is something that continues. We can't wipe out the past. But is there something that's radically different as well? When we are allowing the power of the resurrection to work in our life. That is the new heavens and the new earth. One of the models that we're given that also is a reminder for most in their own life or something they aspire to is that New Jerusalem. And it comes down ready like a bride to meet her bridegroom. Now, it would be nice if a marriage relationship over time could have its reboots and, maybe you just sort of wipe out all the memory and start over from scratch, but no relationship works like that. And the renewal, especially in a marriage that has opened itself up to the fullness of resurrection in that wonderful sacrament, a marriage that has that is one in which during good times and in bad, there is an ongoing transformation. It would be nice if all the challenges of married and family life, whether it's just relationship issues, whether it's other challenges that come along, especially in parenting or with money, or maybe some other things, that it's almost like, what is wrong with our marriage when we have these challenges? There's nothing wrong. That is marriage. There are different challenges. Some are more ongoing. But in all of that is an opportunity for the power of the resurrection to continually transform and make new. Like you're living in a new heaven and a new earth. That the power of the resurrection is transforming not the other person, but each and every one of us. The commandment is to love one another as I have loved you. I would suggest that a good spouse is not someone that's trying to become a better and better person. But a good spouse is one in which they're trying to help their spouse become a better and better person. Whether it's in good times or in bad, whether it's in health or sickness. Because that is the power of the resurrection, transforming us as we are focused on the other. That's the kind of love that transforms us inside out. And certainly can make a difference in others' lives. In the lives of our families. In the lives of our community. I saw a really interesting example of this a while back. I knew a couple, we'll call them Cindy and Tom, and they were close to 30 years of difference in age. So that's an unusual marriage right there. After they got married, they soon had 2 children, and everything was going great, and it was all the usual challenges in marriage, but all the joys. Except after a few years, Tom, who was the older party, began to have some cognitive decline. It was dementia. And his dementia was such that he was becoming very irritable, very agitated, and almost getting not verbally and almost physically abusive. And so this became a real challenge for Cindy, both as a wife and a mother. And it got to the point where they just really couldn't be around Tom anymore. And although she legally divorced him, she didn't stop loving him and being married to him. But she had to have some physical separation. And as much as he would allow, which was not very much, she would still try to take care of him. She did a lot of work behind the scenes. When he started needing more and more care, she tried to work with others that had contact with him, and she never gave up on him. She would go and visit him when he declined so much he was in hospice care, and she was part of the group that helped make arrangements for his funeral. I always think of her example, not just because she was trying to set a great example for her kids and let them have as best access as they could to their father, but to be a loving wife and to allow the power of the resurrection to continue to transform her and to make her fresh in that newness of a kainos, that Greek word for new. As we continue in this Easter season, as we continue to be given that commandment, that new commandment, to love one another, as we especially allow the power of the resurrection to transform our marriages and our families, let's continue to follow Jesus, who is the one on the throne and deserves not not only our honor and glory, but for us to be his faithful disciples and follow him. The one on the throne who is continually proclaiming to us, "Behold, I make all things new."